Who are you really? Strip away the titles, strip away the accolades, strip away all of the achievements, what other people would say. Who are you at your core? And how do you maintain your sense of identity despite external circumstances? Listen, this is a short but spicy episode where we're going deep, and I am challenging you to think about in this time where there is so many things changing, when there are so many things outside of our control, when you might be either by choice or forced upon you. How do you maintain your sense of identity and stay strong and grounded in who you are and what you bring to this world? Listen up for this episode, because this might just be what you need to hear. Hello, welcome back. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about identity, and not only your identity, but really figuring out how do you stay true to your identity despite external circumstances. And this actually came up for me. I just got done being a guest on someone else's podcast, which I will be sharing out. Really excited. But the whole podcast was around fear and doing things that, we're fearful of and challenging ourselves to do those. And one of the questions that host asked me, knowing that, there's certain fears that I've personally overcome, but also that I work with leaders and I work with, entrepreneurs, and I work with other people to help them to achieve their potential and achieve things. Like, along that journey, you're going to have to address those fears. And so she was asking me a little bit around like what gets in the way for people, what have I done to overcome those fears, like things like that. And one of the things that the things that I was sharing was around, oftentimes, like, not only do we have to get clear on what it is we want and where we want to go, but we need to figure out what's getting in the way of us achieving that. And a lot of the times it's this conflict that we have with our own sense of identity, and that it needs to, and I mean, it's literally why the name of my podcast is called It Starts With You, is because we need to be confident and trust and stand firm and grounded in ourselves and who we are and our identity and what we bring to the table despite the external circumstances. And one, prime example of this is when people lose their career, they lose their job. And, I've worked with many clients who either by choice, they decided to leave a position that they were in, whether it's, going in to start their own business, and that's a huge identity shift, or vice versa, they're going back to work, or they choose to leave their organization, or what can be even harder is you get asked to leave your organization for some reason or another, and you can really lose your sense of identity, because if your identity is so tied to things outside of your control, outside of who you are, then when you lose those things, you lose yourself. And not to say that even if you have this like confidence and stability in yourself, those things are still going to, of course, shake you, but it's not going to destroy you. It's not going to cause you to just crumble, because you have this stability in who you are. And so I've seen that for years with people. And also, I would say now more than ever, I mean, there are so many organizations and businesses that are restructuring, and there's massive layoffs that we're seeing, small businesses that are struggling and either need to change their business model or need to shut down their business. Like, there is so much change. And so when so much of your identity has been tied to your title, to the work that you do, to the business that you own and run, to your team, then what happens when you lose those things? And so one of the things I want to challenge you to think about is when those external circumstances change, do you still have a sense of who you are? Do you still have a sense of identity? Because again, if it's solely tied to external things outside of yourself, when you lose those, you lose yourself. And again, this is easier said than done, but that's one of the things that really holds people back, is because, well, who am I now that? And the thing is, you give yourself permission to evolve, to change. Your identity isn't stuck. It can change and it can evolve. But again, it comes from this place of confidence and self-trust that you can figure it out, that this next stage, you've got this, right? That's at the core, and it's not the fear and the worry and the loss of self-identity is not running the show. It's not driving the car. You are. And those fears kind of come along, as I've used as an example before. And so if you are somebody who knows that you are so, and again, like just speaking from experience, like I loved my career. Whenever I worked in organizations, I really loved it. And I, by choice, made switches and transitions. And that in of itself was hard, even though it was my choice. I remember being like, wow, who am I now? I was never part of a layoff or things like that. I can't even imagine if something you already love doing was like taken away from you, not by choice. And there's times too, as running a business, when I change the models or when I change things, it's like that it does shake you a little bit. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to sit with yourself, no matter who is around you or what the external circumstances is, like who your friends and family, all of those things can change in a blink of a moment that we have no control over, but you can control you. And so my challenge for you, and what I wanted to share with you today, is who are you really? Like if you were to strip away all of the titles, all of the accolades, all of the recognition, all of the career achievements, if you were to strip away even all the things other people say about you, good or bad or any of that, if you were to strip all of that away and just sit with yourself, who are you really? Who are you at your core? And if you're like listening to this and you're like, Julie, I have no idea, this is your challenge from listening to this episode, is to make space, to get quiet, and to really sit with who are you? Literally, like might be a journal prompt to like put at the top, like, who am I? And I'm going to challenge you to try and do it without the titles. That's a big part of you, and mom and wife, dad, brother, sister, uncle, whatever. CEO, executive, CFO, all of that is important, but it's just one piece of who you are. Like, who are you? Who are you as a human? Who are you as a person? What do you love? Like, what's the energy you want to put out there? How do you want to show up in the world, no matter what space you're in? Like, that's who you really are. What lights you up? And so if you have no idea, and this is hard for anybody, I've done this work and it is hard, but if you have no idea, your challenge is to really go, who am I? Because again, in this world where things are changing faster than ever, where there's not stability, and that can be scary, and it also can be exciting, right? Like you lose your job, you lose your business, you lose a part of your identity that was you. Feel that, sit in it, and also though, don't let that define you. So who are you really? Maybe it's a prompt. You say, who am I? What do I love? What motivates me? What inspires me? What lights me up? How do I want to show up with people? When I'm by myself, like what are the things I want to say to myself and think and do? Like make it about you. Be selfish right now. Make it about you and take that time to really think, who am I really? And how do I stay true to who I am and to my identity despite what's going on? And when I feel myself like faltering, when I feel myself questioning, or when I feel myself shaking from that foundation, what do I need to do to come back to myself? What do I need to come back to my home, which is you? Because listen, wherever you go, you are. Let me say that again. Wherever you go, you are. You don't get to escape yourself. The only way you escape yourself are the things that we try and do when people they drink too much. They party too much. They might do other things to try and escape who they are. But let me tell you, friend, you are still there. Wherever you go, you are. And so you need to make peace with you. You need to think the most highly of yourself than anyone else. It is you who is the common denominator among all of those things. And so if you're going through a big change right now, if you're questioning your identity, if whether it was by choice or inflicted upon you, now is the time for you to really think about, who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up in this world with people, in my work, with my friends, with my family? And when I am by myself, who am I really? I hope that this message resonates with you and that you take the time to really think about who you really are and what it means to show up as you.